287G has, from its inception, raised serious concerns among federal officials, law enforcement, and local community groups. We feel that 287G needs immediate attention on the part of Homeland Security. It undermines some of the issues that we are going to be talking about today. And while I recognize ICE's authority to take individuals into custody who are in the United States unlawfully, I think ICE, as the lead agency, has the responsibility to exercise that powerful authority in ways that are effective, humane, and result in the least disruption to children and their families. This misuse of 287G program by its current participants has rendered it ineffective and to some extent harmful to the community's safety. So as we go forward with this important discussion on a national level about immigration, and as we go forward dealing with the issues that affect us most, not only in Arizona, but other parts of the country, the separation of families, the effect on families living in a perpetual state of anxiety, not knowing where they're going to be tomorrow and where their mom and dad is going to be tomorrow. Those of us who can appreciate that, I can't, and many of us here can't appreciate what that feeling must be like. And I think we have to take it, we have to factor that into all the decision making and policy revisions that we have. I said something earlier that I think is important. This country, and I love it because it nurtured me and it's nurtured many of us here, is about its future, it's about its children. And a society is judged by how it treats us very, very young and how it treats us very, very old. And the treatment that we give the young people in this country and the children affected by the lack of action on immigration reform in this country does not speak well to the adherence to our values as Americans and to our adherence to the idea of nurturing and growing children in this country. It's tough enough to be a kid. You compound that with the legal pressure and the enforcement pressure that many of the children that we're here about today, I think it makes the situation even more cumbersome legally, but more importantly, it affects that individual in a very profound and negative way. I am very happy to introduce my colleague, Chairwoman Grace Napolitano, who has been a leading advocate in this Congress. I think on any piece of legislation we talk about, Grace makes sure that the issue of mental health, prevention, intervention, attention is always part of that discussion, whether it was with the health legislation we just finished or with education programs. It's been my honor to serve with her, and with that, let me introduce my good friend from California, Congresswoman Napolitano, for any comments, statements she might have.
Thank you, Raul, and it's a pleasure to join you. I will have to render my apologies, but I have a flight in about 45 minutes, so I'll be leaving in about 15 minutes. I really have to go. I wish we had more time to be able to sit in dialogue, because this is an issue near and dear to my heart. My mother from Mexico, my father from Texas. You might say half-born Americana, but still my roots are in Mexico with my family. And I can't tell you how many times I was stopped by a migrant asking for my identification in Fresno, Texas. So I had to carry my birth certificate with me at all times to prove that I was an American citizen. That shouldn't happen in this country. We have children that are American born that have the right to be here and the right to be educated, the right to be able to prosper, and to have their families with them that have brought them up to respect, obey the laws, and become part of this great nation of ours. Unfortunately, there's many people in this Congress that feel otherwise, and whether they're threatened because of the growth of the minorities in this country, I'm sorry to tell you, we're here to stay. As you know, we're very prolific. We'll be growing. What we don't know is that you and us have to be part of the system of governance That means in voting and getting people elected to whatever position, whether it's the city council, the state assembly, the board of supervisors, that understands the need to have immigrant population, because you handle everything else, our children and grandchildren. And I'll tell you, mine would not do some of the jobs many of our immigrants do in this country. They provide for the economy of this country. This country was built on the sweat and the back of many immigrants from all over the world. So to me, what they're doing and being able to, and getting away with separating families, and we talk about family values in this great austere house of ours. We all talk about our family values. Well, family values are family values, no matter who the individual family is. It could be somebody from some other country, it could be our own. Family values are for everybody. Now, I look forward to hearing a little bit. I'll shut up so I can hear some of the testimony, but I certainly want to thank the witnesses, especially the youngsters who are here, who are brave enough to stand up. I see you being politically involved one of these days. So you can make those changes because you understand where it's coming from the heart. It's unfair to punish the children, and the ICE will tell you that this is the law, and so they have to abide by the law. We've been able to have some changes with ICE in being able to hold off on some redadas, but not all of them. And so we feel that we do have a broken immigration system, and hopefully pray a lot to San Judas Tadeo to see if we can get this immigration reform bill passed this year. And that will include family reunification, the DREAM Act, and everything else we talked about. But let me ask everybody, and though you may not want to get politically involved, you have neighbors, you have maybe co-workers or student friends in your schools where your children go, get the word out. They need to be vocal about the necessity of fixing the immigration system and being fair to the children, because they will be suffering for a long time with the separation anxieties that mental health will bring to them. And this is something that cannot go away simply by saying they'll be all right. They will not be all right. And this will produce anger and stress. And will they be out maybe breaking laws? We don't know. We don't know whether they're going to commit suicide. We don't know what's going to happen. And so we need to understand that it's up to us to ensure that our children are protected. So with that, muchas gracias, and we'll look forward to the testimony.
Thank you very much. And let me thank the National Domestic Workers Alliance for their facilitating this hearing. One of the reasons for the hearings that we've had, this is the second one, is when we discuss immigration here in Congress, it's a faceless discussion. It's about statistics, it's about numbers, it's about detentions, it's about how many fences and how long they should be, it's about how many agents on the ground, it's about those kinds of numbers. And I think it's very important for my colleagues and the testimony today that we will disseminate to all members of Congress, for them to know their faces as human beings that are part of this discussion that we're having. And so I want to thank the witnesses and certainly the Alliance and other advocate groups for helping us. Bienvenidos a todos, muchas gracias, especialmente a esas personas que ayudaron con esta audiencia. Lo importante hoy es discutir la humanidad de la cuestión de la reforma de inmigración en este país. Muchas veces aquí en Washington nomás hablamos de la data, de los números, de qué tantas personas están detenidas, qué tanta patrulla fronteriza tenemos en la frontera, y nunca discutimos la persona, esa cara, ese individuo, esa individua que es afectada por la falta de atención a esta cuestión tan importante. Y eso le hace que esta cuestión en términos de derechos civiles y la fábrica social de este país es la más importante que vamos a confrontar en los siguientes 4 o 5 años. Y si no la resolvemos bien, la división va a seguir en este país. Y si por ningún otro motivo la Casa Blanca y el Congreso